Hello everyone, good old gambling man Fromark here once again. This time it's a playthrough of Battletoads on the Game Boy, originally released in 1991, and I'm aware that there's several different Battletoads games, like the one on the NES, the one on the Sega Genesis, and then there's Battletoads and Double Dragon. But this is the one I'm most familiar with, so this is the one I decided to play. And this is the Dark Queen, and she's kidnapped the other two Battletoads characters, Rash and Pimples. So you play as Zitz. Yes, very creative, clever names there. But yeah, there are 6 different levels you play through in this game, and each level is quite unique. I enjoy the variety of this game. Like, you've got your platforming sections, you got a little bit of beat-em-up stuff mixed in here. There's one level later on where you're doing some flying, and it's like a space shooter type of situation. There's a couple like that, actually. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. This game is really fun, though, and basically the backstory on how I ever got into Battletoads here was it was one of the first games I ever really remember playing. I had to have been about 4 at the time, and I got my first ever console. It was a handheld console, the Game Boy Color. Me and my older brother each got one because my mom got a couple of them from one of her friends at work, and she was just giving them away apparently. And I got the purple clear one, and my older brother got the green one. I eventually ended up getting the green one, or bluish, tealish, whatever. But yeah, this was one of the first games I remember playing on it. And my older brother borrowed it from somebody that he was friends with in school at the time, and I just remember this game being really freaking difficult. And this game is no cakewalk, folks. Any version of Battletoads you play is brutally difficult. So I'm amazed that I was finally able to sit down and complete it one day, and then eventually get good enough to do a playthrough of it. So that brings me back to today, and we're back to the house. But yes, this is the first boss, and I make it look pretty easy and take him down pretty quickly. Now, I should have probably looked up the names of all the enemies, but it's okay. I pretty much took care of him pretty quickly. He's the easiest boss to deal with, I feel. Now, I smell a rat. Rap with the rat rocket! I like rats. They're one of my favorite animals. I love rats. They're so cute and so wholesome. A lot of people are like, ew, rats, but I'm over here like, bruh, they're so cute, and they're pretty neat. They're good pets, and they're really smart. My ex had a whole bunch of rats. She had like 5 of them, and they were all pretty chill. And then I've got a friend who's got 2 rats, and it's nice to go over to visit him sometimes, and I spend a lot of time with those rats. But yeah, this is the first little space shooter section. Shmup, if you will. But yeah, this is the trickiest part of the level, I feel, where you got these spiky things coming at you, and it gets faster, the speed starts to pick up, and you've got to be basically on the buttons at all times here. This is where it really starts to get a little dicey. But no worries, I'll make sure to get through here. And the neat thing about Battletoads anyway is if I die, I don't have to restart at the beginning of the level. If I'm at a boss, it'll just boot me back up at the boss. And if I die before... Well, there's checkpoints in levels like this that if I die I get sent back to the checkpoint, but not every level has a checkpoint. And you gotta look out for these guys. I'm not really sure what they are. They kind of look like rats, they kind of look like dogs. Maybe they're rats too, though. I don't know, I like rats. One of these days, I hope I can maybe have a couple of pet rats. Of course, I'd have to keep my cat Scooter away from them. But yeah, rats, they get a bad reputation. And there's the rat rocket. Rap rat. That's a thing that existed. The Rap Rat, that really weird video board game interactive thing that was kind of creepy. Definitely look that up if you ever get a chance. It's kind of spooky. It's like a board game where you pop a video into your VHS player and You play along with this weird, like, plush rat that's just kind of creepy. And he says all these dorky things because early 90s, why not? But the goal here is pretty simple. Just shoot the targets where you just basically shoot back at where he is shooting projectiles. Here they kind of look like Christmas trees almost. That's kind of what they remind me of. They look like either Christmas trees or arrowheads. But that was an easy doing. Mad, bad, and crazy, Toad. Keep Greenhide motivating. Don't dance with the Darkling. That must be the name of this boss. And this is usually where my playthroughs would end in my young age of 4 when I played this. I remember back then I pretty much gave up at this level. But looking back on it now, it's like, man, this isn't even the hardest level in the game. But yeah, I still remember that pretty well. There's some fond memories of getting my first Game Boy. And like I said, it was pretty much the first little console I ever owned. I didn't have it for very long because I was a destructive little shit, but still, I remember plenty of fond memories of Battletoads, and then I had a Hercules game at one point. That Hercules game was the first game I ever owned, because it came with the Game Boy, along with NBA Jam, I believe, and my brother got that one. But that Hercules game's not very good, but maybe one of these days I could do a playthrough of it for old time's sake. I really haven't sat down and played the game in over 20 years. I like these spots, though, these little sections where you can just pick up the enemies and throw them over the cliff. That's always a fun time. These weird twister things. But yeah, there's the Darkling himself. The big bad boss, and you gotta look out for this one. It's pretty easy to knock out once you memorize the patterns, though. Pretty easy stuff if I say so myself. I can't remember if I mess up, though, anyways. But even if I do die, which it doesn't look like it looks like I'm gonna be alright for now. But I would have restarted still right there and not have to worry about the boss's hits resetting. Whup, the wicked worm. I spelled worm wrong. Whup. That's a name. Whup, whup, whup. I like how when Zitz beats up those enemies there, it looks like some kind of cardboard box in his hand or something, like maybe he's squishing them, or maybe it's like a pun on boxing. Because that's what it kind of looks like. It looks like he has like a box there. This level's pretty tricky. This is another one of those platforming levels. I'm not a big fan of this one just because this one goes on longer than I would like it to. And I don't like these sections with the disappearing platforms too well because it's really easy to mess up. And then you got the next part of this stage, which turns into like a little dodge the logs here. It's like a little speedboat or something. I think I might have made it here a couple of times when I first played the game, but like I said, most of my memories I recall just ending in the third stage. Third stage, that's a good Boston album. I like me some Boston. Then you got this section here, you gotta look out for the whirlpools. The whirlpools in the whoop stage. The whoop, the whip, the Cool Whip. You know, they say pie tastes better with Cool Whip. But yeah, these can be kind of tricky, but not so much. And then when you're jumping, sometimes you can use like a little floaty jump to stay in the air for a little bit longer. And it makes it easier to just deal with these whirlpools. It looks like that's going to be the last one of those. And now I gotta deal with these tentacle-looking things that are popping up and down out of the water. It shouldn't be too much of a problem, though. I say as I get hit. Of course I would. Hey, it's those guys again. There's two of them in each boat just kind of floating around. No worries, no worries. And then I believe after this section, could be wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, the boss is after this section. Oh, why did I do that? I'm not immune to deaths in Battletoads. For me, I can't do a perfect game of this quite yet. Even after many hours of practice, this wasn't something I really planned on doing a playthrough of so soon, but once I realized the game's actually pretty short to get through, I decided to just tough it out, and I've heard people say that it takes a special kind of skill to get through a Battletoads game. And just the fact that it took me over 20 years to figure out how, those people weren't wrong. There's that wicked worm. Now he's pretty easy to take down, you just gotta wait for him to get close enough and then hit him with the boat. So now I'm thinking about it, those boats kind of look like bananas. I also want to point out too that the company that published this game, Rare, that is the same Rare that you may be thinking of, the ones that are responsible for Donkey Kong Country and Conker's Bad Fur Day and that sort of stuff. This was pretty much one of their first games. I think there might have been a couple others either before or after. But yeah, for the longest time I didn't realize they were a thing before Donkey Kong Country. Now this level, this is a tricky one, because you're basically just running from this giant boulder, or whatever that's supposed to be. It kind of looks like a brain almost. So you're just running from this giant brain through this strange maze. And it kind of reminds me of like a 2D version of the Crash Bandicoot levels where you're running from something. Whether it's the polar bears, whether it's boulders. I feel like there's another one I'm forgetting, but Crash Bandicoot, they seem to like their running from the thing chasing you trope. Or would that be a trope? Hell, I don't know. So far, so good. This is, unfortunately, though, a situation where if you get hit, like if it catches you, you're dead and you gotta start the level over. But basically, you just gotta outrun it and let him run out of health. Still got we've got him down to about half of his health, a little under, I'd say. So I just gotta hang tough for a couple more minutes here. Now these sections, they can get you for sure, where you gotta jump, and sometimes your jumps don't work properly. And it's just very easy to miss these jumps or get stuck. So you've gotta be, like, on it. You've gotta be pretty much perfect. But it looks like I'm gonna be able to make it to the finish line. And yeah, cool, I did just that, folks. Excellent. Man, this playthrough is going pretty smooth so far. Alright, you're doing great. Now hold tight, Toad. The turbo cables are gonna take you down, down, down. Oh man, it's this level. Watch out, Big Black's about. I've never actually heard the music for this level before. This is pretty neat stuff. The music in this game is really good. I haven't looked at the credits for it yet, but it kind of makes me wonder if maybe that Grant Kirkhope guy had anything to do with it. Could be wrong, but who knows? It's something I need to do more research before I start doing these playthroughs. I should educate myself a little bit more before I just jump in, but sometimes I'm just eager to get into recording a new video, and if I've got enough steam in my mental tank to be able to do one of these, I will definitely do it. But I'm not really too big of a fan of this level, and you'll see why. Those things, I'm not a fan of those things. They're like some kind of weird squid-looking thingy, or some kind of jellyfish or something, but either way, if you get hit by them, it's pretty much, you're done. It's an insta-kill. Anything else, though, not really so much. But yeah, it looks like I've got most of that dealt with, and now it's Almost time to get clobbered by the big boss. The big blag. Ooh, and just right off the rip. Like I said, showing off that I don't have to worry about restarting the level. And this is actually pretty easy once you can just make sure you're out of his field of damage there. Make sure you're not getting hit by the hitboxes and all that stuff. And if you can manage to do just that, it's one of the easier bosses to take down. I say as I get my first game over there. Game over, yeah! But alright, good stuff. That's gonna take out that boss. Still got a couple levels left, though. Really kicking tail, Toad. So let's see what's going on in this next one here. Exterminate the vermin. Yeah, this is a strange level where you gotta be very precise with your jumps and your movements, and you just... It's... The whole perception gets kind of thrown off here because you can easily miss jumps, and then you've always got these pickaxe things coming at you. Then you got these things here that kind of look like the Langoliers from that TV movie, the Stephen King book, where the nostalgia critic says they kind of look like giant floating meatballs. But yeah, they kind of do look like the things from that, which I think that TV movie might have came after Battletoads. There's a lot of those little mini movies, those TV movies based off Stephen King books. Some of them are actually pretty good, like It and The Stand, but some of them are just garbage. I know there's two different versions of The Shining. There's the classic one with Jack Nicholson in it, but then there's the one from like the mid-90s, and it's got the guy from Wings in it, and that one's just not good. That one's just not good. And then there's some that are just like cult classics, and there's another Game Over. But yeah, there's some that are kind of like just cult classics, like Maximum Overdrive. That's always been a favorite of mine because it's just so silly, and you've got all these killer trucks coming at you. And that's a movie I would really like to see get remade. I mean, in this world of everything getting remade and everything being done to death, I'm surprised that we haven't gotten a modern Maximum Overdrive, because I feel like that would be perfect with all the technology everybody relies on today. If we had like a movie kind of... I would like to see that concept revisited. And taking that boss down, I still got a few lives left going into the last stage. And I'm a green machine, apparently. Smell like victory. Alright, Robo-Manus. What a name. I wonder... Nah, it's spelled differently. I have a friend whose last name is McManus, but that can't be him. He's not half robot. But yeah, this one's a really tricky one to get through for sure, because not only are you having to dodge a bunch of crap, but you've also got a timer. And basically, this is the last stage to get through before the final boss. And you've got to be, like, on it. You've got to move. You've got to be quick. You cannot waste any time here, folks. I'm not sure if I'd have to redo this stage, but it looks like it's going to be awfully close on time and health. Ah, sweet. Okay, I did have enough time and health. This is it. It's the big one, Omega Mondo. And for a final boss, I mean, it can be kind of challenging, but I feel like it's kind of easy. It's a little bit easier than some of the other bosses. So, I mean, I was expecting a little bit more of a challenge when I finally got here. And at this point, I don't really give a crap if I get hit, because I know I have enough life and insurance here to really pad out losing a bunch. So I can just kind of freely just keep booming, bonking away. I'm not too terribly worried about it. Ooh. But yeah, so... Alright, yeah, that's gonna take out the Robo-Manus, and the day has been saved, folks. The other two Battletoads, Pimple and Rash, they are now rescued. And the totally awesome trio are reunited and ready for action once again. So yeah, folks, that's gonna do it for this playthrough of Battletoads. I know that was pretty quick to get through, huh? But yeah, good stuff if I do say so myself. This is a game I recommend, even though it is really challenging. But it's fun. It's a fun time. And this has been Fromark, folks, and I will see you in whatever it is I decide to play or do next over here on the channel.